my fellow Virgin Islanders. Today, as we mark Transfer Day, we do not gather in celebration, we gather in solemn remembrance and in rising resolve. On this day in 1917, the Danish flag was lowered and the American flag raised. But what followed was not sovereignty for us, it was substitution. One empire gave way to another, and the people of the Virgin Islands were never consulted, never counted, and never free. 108 years later, the questions still remain unanswered. What exactly was transferred? Who gave their consent? And when will the people of these islands finally govern themselves? In 1916, Denmark and the United States signed a treaty that transferred the Virgin Islands, then the Danish West Indies, from one colonial power to another. But that treaty was signed in secret. It contained no provisions for our rights, our citizenship, or our future. It reduced the people to a transaction. And that injustice still defines our legal status today. That silence, however, was broken 3 days ago. President Donald J. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance publicly announced their intention to acquire Greenland without consent, without process, and in direct violation of the 1916 Lansing Declaration, which guaranteed that the U.S. would not interfere in Denmark's governance of Greenland. That declaration was a condition of the Virgin Islands transfer. Their breach was not just reckless, it shattered the very treaty framework upon which U.S. rule over these islands has rested for more than a century now. In that moment, the treaty was not only broken, it was exposed. It was exposed for what it always was, a colonial arrangement excluding the very people it claimed to govern. Exposed for what it has produced, statelessness, second-class citizenship, and structural neglect. So today, we say clearly and loudly, if the United States violates the terms it agreed to in acquiring Greenland, it forfeits the moral and the legal basis for retaining the Virgin Islands under colonial rule.